So what happened today is that we went to go and mobilize the Cape Peninsula University of Technology to come and be in solidarity with us and help also organize on the campus and speak to students around the march that we are having on to Parliament for free decolonial education on the 26th of October on Wednesday. So en route to the Cape Peninsula University of Technology, students were met with by police who arrived and just started firing rubber bullets and stun grenades and tear gas to make students disperse. And as students were dispersing, they were running into different houses, and the police were just going into these houses and trying to track them down and arrest people. And they followed students back while they were making their way back to UCT, retreating from the police that were there. So when they were running back, students would be going into residences along Main Road and into houses for safety and protection. But the police would actually follow them into these houses and knock and try and find students. 4 students were arrested today. No, 3 students were arrested today and 1 worker. And all of these people were brutalized. So the worker was in hospital today, but she's recovering. But she was brutalized by the police. And also 1 student was brutalized by the police and was in hospital, but is fine now. 2 students who Atabile Nongoba Nomas Kolem Landu and Bongani Hulani were also arrested. Those are the 3 students that were arrested today. We don't know what the charges are currently, but they're still detained. And if you would notice, this is the 3rd time that Maskolem is being arrested over 2 weeks. And Atabile is also being targeted as a student leader here on the campus. So what we are seeing this as is a demobilization tactic leading up to the 26th of October 2016. We are planning to have a General Assembly tomorrow at 1, where we'll speak around the issues and mobilize for the march on the 26th of October to Parliament. And we are resolute that we won't be deterred. But we want people to just be aware that the victimization is going to continue, and people mustn't be anxious, because that's the climate we exist in currently. We're always suspect to arrest just because of the color of our skin and because of what we're saying. So the struggle still continues, but yeah, we lost 3 cadres today to arrest. We must be aware that this fees must fall struggle has now escalated to a level that the state can't suppress anymore and can't distort. Because last year when we did this, there was a lot of confusion as to what we meant, and people distorted it on purpose and made it centered around this 0%, as if we were fighting against increments, as if we were fighting for fees to stay the same and not rise continuously. So this year there's been a much larger clarity on that, and there's been much more resilience to distortion and to propaganda that goes out into the media around violence. We've added a discourse and we've added content to what political violence looks like. So I think what we are seeing now is how the state is responding in a way in which the apartheid state also used to function. So there's propaganda on television, there's a constant framing of a narrative of protesters being violent, not wanting to engage, being unreasonable, wanting to damage property, as if students act violently out of nowhere, and it's not a response to the organized violence that's continuous from the state. So the state is using a lot of apartheid tactics that we use against them themselves, the likes of kidnapping students, the likes of following students, tapping their phones, brutalizing them, arresting student leaders, arresting students to demobilize and strike fear into students. And it's organized, and it's like it was clear when Jacob Zuma set up the ministerial task team that doesn't have a minister of finance. It's basically another security cluster, and so there's no solutions that will stem from that ministerial task team other than brutalizing students and other than taking students out, arresting students, setting high bail amounts, denying students bail, sending them to state institutions like prisons, actual prisons with criminals who've actually committed crimes, whereas we've been continuous in a claim for free decolonial education that will benefit all of South Africans. There's nothing that students are doing illegally that is not a response to the illegal organization around suppressing student voices and voices of people who want to actually improve the dignity of black life in South Africa. So we must be aware that it's not paranoia. We're actually existing in a state that's trying to repress dissent and to silence voices that are wanting to implement change. Yeah.